Okay.
Yeah, it really bothers me.
This is the ROG Xbox Ally X, supposedly the best handheld gaming console yet. With the same price tag as last year's ROG Ally X at $999, is this really better, or is the Xbox just a gimmick hype thing? Microsoft and ROG have teamed up to make the new edition of the Ally console. It's the first to be built specifically around the Windows full screen experience. Designed with the Xbox team, the device is an upgrade from the previous generation, even coming with a dedicated Xbox button to navigate all apps. We're going to be breaking this down into all of these different categories and ranking them based on our experience. Now, I'm personally not a huge handheld console guy because I play mostly FPS gaming. I'm very competitive, so I need to sit down, I need to have the 165 Hz in my face and keyboard and mouse. But I do have someone who's a lot nerdier than I am and is really fixated on handheld consoles. So I didn't unbox it and set it up, but you did. So let's get started by first talking about the setup process on the ROG Xbox Ally X.
First things first, make sure that you have a charger ready. The setup process is pretty lengthy, and from our experience, the moment we turn it on, the battery wasn't full. It does take a while, about 30 minutes, before I actually got to installing games at all.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
That's horrible. Like, what happened to pick up and play? It's a console.
It's a Windows device. You definitely need a Microsoft account and also an ASUS account. Both you can't skip. ASUS will still give you a window where you have to put in your details. A thing of note, you need to set up Army Crate in desktop mode. Otherwise, you can't access it in full screen experience for the first time.
Yeah, to be honest, like everything you just said, way too long to get into gaming. I just want to like, ding, and start playing. So setup process, what would you rate it out of 10?
I'd say it's a 3 to 4.
Ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not great.
Okay, quickly tell us how you feel about holding this in hand compared to the last generation, because you use that as well, right?
Yeah,
How does
I
it feel
did.
in hand?
It's so much more comfortable to hold. This is a significant upgrade in terms of ergonomics. That being said, this is quite the heavy device. I wouldn't recommend playing it standing. My experience, I've been playing on the couch and I've been putting it on my lap.
Wait, who is standing and playing consoles? Do people do that?
You're waiting in line.
In the bus.
Ah, okay, like on the train, you're standing.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. How is it like compared to something like the Nintendo Switch? Okay, so this is like the Nintendo Switch. That is like a sheet of glass in comparison. Like this is super narrow and light. I mean, okay, this feels more like a controller to me.
Yes, it is.
Like in my hand, I feel like I'm holding an Xbox controller, especially because of how the thumb placement is on the analog stick.
Yeah.
Like this genuinely feels nice.
And the handle, I think, it's the
It's
thing
sturdier, it's thicker. So this is the ROG Ally X.
No, Ally. No X.
Not X. So if you look at these side by side, you can see the grip is significantly better on the Xbox One. Like this properly feels like a controller, like an Xbox controller or PlayStation controller. While this is like, I don't care how you feel it when it's in your hand. But this just feels like a lot better, more grippy, and display-wise is about the same. I think we'll talk about the dimensions in a second, but overall feel, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I could imagine playing this.
Yeah, it's
But
super comfortable.
It's not as heavy as you said. So it's like, this is like 600 something grams, this is 700 something grams, right?
Yeah.
Not too bad, it's like a couple hundred. Okay, how about the button placement and everything like that?
One thing that really confuses me in the beginning was the button placements has been inverted. So these two buttons used to be here, and these two buttons used to be down here. Because I'm so used to pressing it on top, now I press it at the bottom.
But this would only be an issue if you had the previous device. If you're a brand new user of this, it wouldn't really make much of a difference. But otherwise, ergonomics-wise, button placement, the D-pad placement, all pretty standard, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. The thumbsticks now come with the Hall effect, which is a fancy way of saying they're more durable. They're built a little bit better, and it'll prevent drift in the future, which is nice. And of course, it's accompanied by the freaking Aura lights, which has part of every gaming thing ever. So looks pretty good. You've got the nice color on the left and then the lime green to match your Xbox on the right. That's just more vanity thing, and you can change those later if you want to.
Not a big fan. Turn it off.
Really? Why?
I'm boring that way.
Something Andrew mentioned was that the R2 trigger, RT, see I play PlayStation.
Trigger.
The bottom trigger, the big trigger at the bottom right, squeaks. So he tried to make it squeak while showing us and it didn't squeak, but okay.
Yeah, it really bothers me. I did some Googling, and turns out that every now and then people do complain since the original Ally.
Oh, so it's a pre-existing issue.
Yeah, but you can't really fix this one. I asked ASUS about this one, and they said like maybe don't put oil or lube on it because this has the impact trigger, which we'll mention later. So one of the new additions is the impulse triggers and generally improve haptic feedback. I wouldn't say it's as good as the DualSense if you're on the PlayStation 5. It doesn't give you that adaptive
Resistance.
trigger, resistance. But generally, there's much more range of like haptic feedback. So you feel like, different areas of the whole device vibrates, which is a nice touch compared to the previous one. I do wish that it's as good as the DualSense though.
I feel like that would be risky considering battery life and also handheld. I think handheld battery life, it would suffer a lot.
Perhaps. But it's so good.
But to be honest, like Wei Xiang asked me to try Forza, I barely felt anything.
Yeah?
Like genuine, I barely felt anything. So if you're looking for like immersion and you're expecting like that kind of reaction that you see in the commercials, you're not getting that. So what would you rate it for build and design and ergonomics overall?
I'd say this is a solid 8 and above because I really like this design.
Yeah, it's got like a nice heft to it. I really like the heaviness.
Yeah.
I know you don't, but I kind of really like it. Like I feel more confident in it. The squeakiness aside.
Yeah.
ROG, we're looking at you for the squeakiness. Now, a huge part of any device, specifically gaming, because you're expecting peripherals, you're expecting to connect a bunch of things, is the connectivity and the I/O ports. And this comes with a fair few ports for you to use. There's a bunch to look at. At the top, you've got two USB Type-C ports. One is a 3.2 and one is the USB 4.0, which supports Thunderbolt 4. There's the volume rocker. You have a micro SD card slot and a 3.5mm jack along with the power button. Of course, the trigger's at the top. That's a fair few ports. So USB 4.0 and Thunderbolt 4 is perfect if you want to connect like an external GPU, for example, or even just for DisplayPort for external displays in general, right?
You've played the finals on this.
I did play the final on this, yeah. So I connected it up for both the keyboard, the mouse, using just one hub. And the latency was almost non-existent. I think it was pretty good on latency side. And then, of course, you still have one free Type-C port in case you want to connect one just to a monitor and one for something else. You can still do that. And you still have the option, if you want, to connect one of those dongles that goes from Type-C to Ethernet. So if you want like LAN connectivity, you can still get that on here. The greatest part, and this is something that I personally wanted to test, is when you connect it to a display. Because I still want to play like a PC. Even though it's like a console, I would want to connect it and know that this has the power, which again, this does have the power to do so. Another thing to mention is the power button at the top also has a built-in fingerprint sensor for that added security, so no one else is getting into your device. Especially if you're weird like Andrew, you don't know what all he has on there, right?
Excuse me.
You can actually use this to quickly tap and to unlock your device. There's nothing more you could add.
Yeah, there's nothing more you can add. 8, 9.
I would say 9 out of 10. Now, on to this software, and one of the main reasons why there's a distinction between the ROG Ally X and the ROG Xbox Ally X. Let's talk about the software experience on this device.
This is coming everywhere, this full screen experience. But for now, until next year, this is the only device so far that you can experience this. Honestly, on paper, it's fantastic. And in practice, it's great, but there are caveats to it. One of the most important things is if it works properly, everything is great. Apps launch almost instantly. I can install Steam, Epic, and most of the gaming platforms without going to Windows. That's great. What's not great is when I do launch a game, it will still launch Steam or Epic. In the end, this is still a Windows 11 machine. So you still have all the bloat that comes with Windows, but by keeping it within the full screen experience, it disables a lot of all the background activities, so your machine actually runs much faster.
I actually really like the fact that there's an actual value of having the Xbox in it, because it's actually taking over all the stuff you want to avoid. So for me, a huge part of why I didn't even want to try the previous Ally is because I was like, I don't want to deal with another Windows thing. So this way you're getting that real console experience, because I launch it and I have that console layout, console view. So I really like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it still feels like a half measure. It's not like on, let's say, the Xbox, the actual Xbox device. Tap on the button, the game launches.
Do you get like those ugly ass Windows updates?
Quick settings are accessible with the button press. You've got this cross media bar that feels familiar if you ever used a PlayStation or Xbox. The Xbox button is awesome. Most controls are in your fingertips, including resolution control and much, much more. Press it once, you open the game bar, you can check stats, capture clips, chat with friends without ever exiting the game. There's one thing that is really good, which is the Microsoft Edge integrated within the game bar, and Gaming Copilot, which is an AI that actually will read whatever you're looking at and then provide recommendations. And I asked Gaming Copilot to set up my settings for me.
Oh, nice. Wait, can I do that on my PC at home?
So one nifty feature of the Xbox app, this is not exclusive to the Ally. Games on the Xbox will tell you if this game is supported, which is very useful here because these may not be able to play every single game out there.
So you know what's compatible and how it's optimized. Nice.
which is, very good. I really want to rate this an 8 or the 9, but it feels like a half measure still, and we're still ways away from like where it's really, really good.
Fair. It's an Xbox, so you expect the software to be good.
Yeah.
Something they can improve on if they really want people to target this as like, oh, this is a handheld Xbox gaming console.
6.
6 for software, there you go. But with all of that out of the way, let's talk about what actually really matters, which is the performance on something like this, a handheld gaming device, because that's what it all comes down to. So there's two versions of the ROG Xbox Ally. The standard version without the X comes with the AMD Ryzen Z2A chipset with 16GB of RAM, while the one we have here, which is the ROG Xbox Ally X, comes with the AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme processor with a huge 24 gigs of RAM. So it's capable of running most AAA titles. But Wei Xiang, who's right over there, Wei Xiang, say hi.
Hello.
So Wei Xiang tried playing Forza, and he was in 1080p in turbo mode, and he was at high settings on everything, and he was getting a bit of stutter.
Yeah, I'd recommend usually, like if you do experience stutter, maybe push it down to medium.
Honestly, do you think playing on 720 on this still makes sense?
To be fair, like it's not a giant screen.
It's small, like I would be okay with 720.
I would be happy with 720.
I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit on resolution to get performance, for sure. But I think there's people out there who prefer resolution over it depends on whatever floats your boat, but performance-wise, I don't think you're going to be suffering too much unless you're pushing a crazy heavy game and you still want the 1080p and you still want this, and that, which is this guy right here. Yeah.
One thing I really like about this is actually the old Ally on turbo is noisy, but this one is surprisingly quiet. So I really appreciate that, ASUS. Like,
nice.
Good job. So the performance profiles let you prioritize battery life or the frame rate, which you can find in the Armory Crate. You can choose from different modes, standard ones, silent, turbo, performance, and more. From there, you can adjust your thermals and cooling, control customizations, and monitor your temps or to stretch your battery life, especially if you're on the go a lot.
Okay, gaming on a 7-inch LCD IPS panel is actually pretty great with a 120Hz refresh rate. So most games that you're going to play, you're getting a good frame rate, a good refresh rate, and just a very nice immersive display. How about the audio quality though?
The speakers are great. Like I can hear the upgrade from the previous version.
Yeah.
Especially since I use it side by side.
Yeah, pretty big difference in the audio performance.
And now the dual speakers support Dolby Atmos.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a few of these games up on screen for you to see the gameplay and talk about the overall performance on these as we're playing these games. Also, we're gonna showcase the settings we use during this gaming process so you guys get to see a rough experience of what it's like to play this game. When I connected this to the desktop with a keyboard and a mouse, I was getting roughly between 60 to 90 FPS in the finals, which is pretty low. I generally get 120 on a PC back home, which is understandable, of course, but we do want to give you a reference point of what to expect when you're both plugged in and also just using it handheld. The big question, what would you rate the performance on this device?
Taking into consideration that it's this small, this is a very powerful device for this size. I'd say this is an easy 8.
Easy 8, there you go. Now on to our final category, which is the battery. And how does this last you? How long does this last you? And to me, this is the biggest either turn-off of a handheld gaming console or the best part about a handheld gaming console, because if you're traveling, you're moving around, how much do you actually get out of it? So there is a significant difference when you're plugged in and you're using unplugged, or not so much?
Usually you can set turbo even when unplugged, but it will drain your battery like
super quick. So Wei Xiang, you said you dropped from 100% to 76% in just 30 minutes while playing Forza, right?
Yes.
on performance or turbo.
Turbo.
So
Oh.
that's like what, 24% in 30 minutes?
To be fair, it's commendable.
Okay, so let's say an hour is like what, 50%?
2 hours is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, who's playing for 2 hours? What are you nodding for? Tarsh is behind camera like, no, 2 hours is too less. How long do you game for, my friend? To be honest, a lot of people I heard complain about these consoles, handheld consoles, because of the battery not being sufficient. But to be honest, I'm at that stage, I guess I'm old, where after 1 hour of gaming, my eyes start to get tired. Like I want to take a break. Like max I can do is 1.5 hours. So I feel like I'll be fine.
I'd say if I can get a decent 2 to 3 hours of gaming from this device, I think this is all good.
Okay.
Because we're talking about like standard commute. If you're playing like in the living room like I do, or while I'm traveling, I'll have a power bank, or I'll just have it hooked up to the power at home.
Right. So usually if you're at home, the battery life wouldn't be much of an issue because if you want, you just plug it in and play while you're plugged in.
Yeah.
The main part you would want to look at the battery life is when you're on the go.
So much better compared to the original Ally, which Wei Xiang have tried as well.
So is it double the battery of the original?
Yeah, it's double.
So you're getting 80 watt hours out of this
Yeah, compared to
versus
40.
the 40 watt hours. That's
Yeah.
a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
No wonder it's a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
Right, I think it's worth
Yeah.
it. I would take that for the battery life.
Yeah. That being said, if you're gonna play on the go, just always make sure you have a power pack with you at all times.
Which brings me to the, not sponsored, there's no sponsor. But if you guys want to check out some really cool power banks, we're going to link some down below. The ones we're always going for are from Ugreen. Because whether or not you're on a console or you're on your phone, you're with your cameras, you will run out of juice on the go. You need a good power bank. So definitely check those out. Specifically some that support fast charging. That's great as well because you want it to get up really quickly.
Make sure it's 100 watts.
What would you rate the battery life for this out of 10?
7,
Okay. You want it to be better.
obviously. Can't complain.
He wants 12-hour battery life. So, does the ROG Xbox Ally match its price? ASUS and Microsoft have really tried to create a seamless gaming console experience. The hardware is pretty great. The ergonomics, the performance, the display, the battery life. On the hardware front, I think they did really, really well. But the software, I feel like this is what Andrew just said. It's like a little bit almost there, but not all the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would have loved to see a little bit of improvement in the software side.
Yeah, I do hope that in the future, like with more updates, Microsoft will really improve on this experience and make it a full Xbox experience.
But what I would really want is to be able to take my Xbox and shove it into a controller and get that full seamless experience, because that's what I really want. Maybe a PlayStation instead though. So who is the ROG Xbox Ally X really meant for? At $999, it's not a cheap gaming device. If you're going to play video games at home, you're probably better off getting a gaming console like a PS5 or an Xbox instead. It costs less than half as much and you're getting more powerful machine. But if you've got a spare $1,000 just lying around and you're curious, then I don't think you'd be disappointed with the ROG Xbox Ally X. If you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of room in your living room space or your gaming table and you prefer handheld, all you need is a nearby power plug so you can charge this and get the best performance possible.
So, what do you think? After all this, would you buy it?
So for me, I'm still skeptical. I don't know if I'd get it, but the scoring wise, I think it came out to be what, an 8 out of 10?
Yeah.
8 out of 10 device, solid console for most people who are interested in handheld consoles. For me personally, I'm not huge on handheld consoles. Like I said, I prefer that desktop experience. I prefer that too competitive, I want to break things experience, and I don't want to break this. So for me, it's still not at a point where I am fully comfortable saying that this is a handheld console and I'm getting a console experience without any of that Windows nonsense. Once we get to that point, I'll be the first to get it.
For me, I think this is great if you don't like the hassle of a PC. It's still a much better experience, although there's still much more to improve on. And otherwise, yeah, I'd say this is
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you again in the next video. Until then, take care.